Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Ampelon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, please the sport.
And it's Hakim Ziyech who puts the Atlas.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People television. Now you have more than a voice.
The truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Mr. Ofamiloni, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
My name is Made Kuti and you're watching VOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Welcome to the Friday edition of the Locker Room on Voice of the People Television. I am Jerry Apeliohine, and we've got a thrilling show for you today as it promises to be exciting. The usual suspect joining me, talking about the man I'd like to call the Algerian, talking about Hafiz Ogunbanjo joining us today, and we're ready to break down all the action and share hot takes on what's going down in the football world, and our advice that you get into it. And of course, for those who are watching us on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never get to miss any episode of the Locker Room. Also, don't forget you can also be a part of the VOP TV family on Instagram, TikTok, and of course we're also on Facebook. And definitely the conversation never stops. We're released here Monday to Friday live, and you can also rewatch the program on our YouTube channel, VOP TV Live and VOP TV Plus. And those are where you can see us. And of course, you can also see us on LCL TV channels 264. That's where we give you all the action as well on cable. And Hafiz, it's great to have you join us. So much to look forward to on this episode of the Locker Room.
Yeah, of course. Good evening, Jerry. It's a footballing Friday, and I want to say good evening and welcome along to the viewers out there as well. I mean, the Champions League has come and gone. The match week 7, we've also seen the Europa League as well, and now we're looking towards the weekend. You know, starting from today, there are games in Europe's top 5 leagues. Some teams are looking to cement their places at the top of the table, and of course, looking ahead into the weekend as well. There's the Arsenal-Manchester United sort of rivalry. You know, is Manchester United going to throw a spanner in the wheel of the Gunners, or will the Gunners, you know, try to roll over them and, you know, ride on as they look to win the league after 22 years? So, yeah, it's glad to be here to break all of that down, Jerry. Good evening, everyone.
All right, and of course, there's so much to look forward to in the exciting world of football. And we'll start off with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. This time around, Austin Egwaven, the technical director of the Nigerian Football Federation, says he was disappointed that head coach of the senior national team of Nigeria, Chelle, didn't pick any player from the Nigerian Professional Football League in his squad for the recently concluded AFCON. Chelle went to the tournament with a team of 28 players, all picked from teams outside Nigeria, and the team went all the way to the semi-final before losing to the host Morocco 2-4 on penalties. They recovered to win the third place playoff against Egypt 4-2 on penalties, with Chelle earning applause for the way the team played at the tournament. But Egwaven isn't totally happy that no player from the domestic league made the team. Okay, talking about a shout for the NPFL players. One man, Egwaven, yeah, he's part of the technical, he's the technical director of the NFF. Should he not be in a situation to tell Eric Chelle, I need 2 players in that squad from the NPFL, and he does that as a technical director? If he doesn't have such kind of influence, and then what is he the technical director for? Is he the technical director for the press, to just press his issues in public, not having big decisions being taken? But what do you think about NPFL players not part of the 28 players that went to the AFCON?
All right, Jerry, for me, I think first thing is that you might have some good points, but at the same time, due to the timing, some things are better left unsaid. Because for me, I think the timing of this is coming at a very, 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 very wrong hour. I mean, it's the wrong timing for me. You should have said this, you know, before the tournament. Or you remember it took a long time before Eric Chelle, you know, actually drew the provisional list. And there were about 4 to 5 NPFL players in the provisional list. And trust me, I tried to tell me that this man was not seeing all these players, you know, maybe one way or the other, because there wasn't even time for the players in the professional list to even train together before the final lists were made. So for me, I'm not blaming Eric Chelle. He saw what he felt like were his best legs, and they went there and they came third. I want to ask this question to everyone: if the Super Eagles had won this tournament, is it going to be agitating for NPFL players also being chosen? I mean, these are players that actually represented the country during the CHAN, and we knew how CHAN went, Jerry. So even you won't pick any player from the CHAN team. I don't think there was any positive in that CHAN side. And of course, even if there were to be some 1 or 2, how do they match up with the players in the camp? How do they match up with those players in quality? So for me, I think, and how many good players actually stay in the NPFL? These are many questions that we should be asking. How many good players stay in the NPFL? Once they get interest, maybe they just drop good performances and they get interest from teams abroad. Even if the team is in Botswana, they will move. So for me, the good players don't really stay in the NPFL. And for me, I won't fault Eric Chelle for anything. This is not the time we should be discussing about this, right? There are still other games to come along. He should have said this earlier. Yes, maybe we will have seen into it, but now I think what the man has selected, good enough to get us to third place. A lot of people didn't even expect those boys that were selected to even get us to third place. So for me, I think they performed above expectations, and long may it continue from there. Good, better times to come.
All right, and of course, reminded that Chelle coached the home-based players at the Chan tournament where they were woeful, and maybe that was the reason why they weren't picked. Gabon said it would be unfair to judge the players with their Chan performance.
Yeah. How else should we judge the players?
Yeah, maybe you should have organized another tournament.
And for me, even in Eric Chelle's camp, there are 2 NPFL coaches, right? We have Daniel Ogumodede of Remo Stars, and at the time, Phyllis Ilechukwu of Rangers. So for me, I think this was enough, to see quality of the players. They play in the same league that these 2 men were managing. So for me, I think I don't know what Egwebe is trying to say that we should not judge their performance. I don't know. It's not about just the players alone now. You mentioned that he's the technical director of the NFF. Why was there no timing for us to see these players gel with the players that were called in camp? Professional players were called up, not up to like 2 weeks. We saw the final list. These players did not play together, they did not train together. They just trimmed down. Why did it take so long for us to see the provisional list before we now? There was no time to even say, oh, this player is supposed to go. There was no time for us to say, these players were there. They were picked up. So he actually saw these players, he put them in the provisional list. But do they match up in quality with the ones at the final list? That's the big question here.
All right, that's the big question. He said that you don't throw away the baby with the bathwater, that you should still consider them. You should have still considered them ahead.
You can keep the baby and the bathwater now. Then just leave them there. One day we shall remove the baby from the bathwater.
Video Gabon is talking. How many NPFL players was he using in his team
during his own time?
When he played the AFCON qualifiers, for instance,
exactly.
How many players did he use
from the NPFL? When was the last time an NPFL player actually nailed a starting shirt in the Super Eagles of Nigeria?
Yeah, that's a big question that Gabon should have answered first, because at the point in time he was the manager of the Super Eagles, and he didn't do anything different for the NPFL players. Now it looks like he's not wearing the shoe. He now
wants to feel like he can dictate for somebody. At least you had the chance when you were there. Which NPFL player did you bring in? Even when you brought him in, did he play? Amaso Basoge was at the NPFL at some point before he recently got his move. Kayode Bankole was supposed to be invited as well. They've all made moves out of the country. Let us improve our NPFL. Let us see better quality of players. They will be talking about them, matching up to go to tournaments.
All right, talking about the NPFL, I think this story really answers Estelle Gabon in terms of the latest African club rankings. NPFL missing in top, has failed to make the top 10 in the latest ranking of Africa's strongest domestic leagues for 2025. That's last year. The ranking was released by the International Federation of Football History and Statistics, which assessed leagues across the continent based on performance and competitiveness over the period under review. According to the body, Egypt's Nile League emerged as the strongest league in Africa for 2025, maintaining its dominance on the continent. Morocco's Botola Pro followed closely in second place, while South Africa's Premiership PSL ranked third. Algeria's Ligue Professionnelle won, and Tunisia's Ligue Professionnelle 1 completed the top 5.
North American clean sweep.
And of course, underlining North Africa's strong presence in the ranking, East and Central African leagues were also well represented, with Tanzania's Premier League placing 6th. Imagine. Yeah, I was blasted one time when I tried to say the NPFL was better than the Tanzanian league. I think today, in 2025, I think I want to take that back. Tanzanian league has proven that in the rankings, it's better than the NPFL. And it's not only that, DR Congo, a
on and so on. They have a
Remember the Aztec Mimosas of Ivory Coast.
9th and 10th positions respectively for Angola and Ivory Coast League. And of course, the absence of the NPF from the top 10 raises further concerns about the league's continental standing, despite recent effort to improve organization, infrastructure, and competitiveness. I don't know the organization and structure they're talking about. Is it the structure of having home teams win at all costs, home teams beating away players and coaches in 2025?
No technology added.
No technology, no TV.
Is there good line technology in the NPFL? I don't think so.
Come on. Why would there be a good line technology for a stadium that does not have media facilities?
Exactly.
So no stadium in Nigeria now has a media setup where there are cameras everywhere to see the game. There's no stadium in Nigeria. Go and quote me. Even the Uyo Stadium doesn't have the facility. You could see when the Nigerian games, Super Eagles game is going on, you see one camera handling what 20 cameras will do. You cannot get 3-4 angles. It's that bad.
You have to go and meet someone in the stands to serve as your VAR.
It's really bad.
I can remember a game where the referee had to leave the pitch to go outside to another van to go and check for VAR. And something even VAR, he just checked the monitor and just came back to come and award the penalty or some sort. I mean, from the violence and all of that. I mean, look at Egypt's Nile League, for example. You could say 60 to 65% or even 70% of their AFCON squad that just played, the AFCON in Morocco, they are from the league. Look at the Morocco's Botola Pro. I remember in 2022, the World Cup squad, they were players from the team. Their team, Pyramids of Egypt, they won the Champions League for CAF. They won the CAF Champions League. Morocco as well, we know how they dominate in the CAF Confederation Cup, the likes of the Wydad Casablanca and all of that. South Africa, Betway Premiership, look at their players. Most of their players from 80 to 85% of the Bafana squad, and they are even third in terms of their league. So now tell me, how does a league in 10th outside the top 10 in Africa, in this continent, that is supposed to be strong, the giant of Africa, your league is still not top 10? And much respect to the teams above Nigeria.
But South Africa was in the 90s, no longer.
Look at the likes of Algeria. Algeria's league is not bad. I remember the likes of JS Kabylie when they used to dominate the continent.
Okay,
Algeria is in top 10. Tunisia as well. They have teams, the CS Sfaxiens, the Esperance de Tunis. They have teams that are legendary teams from these leagues. Where are the legendary teams in the NPFL? So for me, in terms of direction, in terms of organization, NPFL is seriously lacking, and that, I think that answers a Guevin's question for not seeing players, to play in the professional. Even some of it, in fact, most of this league, there are Nigerians playing there. There are Nigerians from the NPFL that are in these leagues in the top 10. So that answers your question, Jerry.
Yeah, that answers Guevin's question, talking about the quality of the league not meeting up the standard, and the ranking is expected to further fuel debate on the need for sustained reforms within Nigerian domestic football to restore the NPFL status among Africa's elite leagues, and we wait to see that day come.
You can only say amen to that.
Yeah, that's just the word. Yeah,
that's the way it is. That's just the way it is.
Okay, and let's talk about the head coach of the senior national team of Nigeria, Chelle, has turned his back on advances from 2 African teams in Angola and Gabon in favor of staying on as the coach of the senior national team of Nigeria. Chelle's contract, which runs till 2027, was a huge concern after he failed to meet the target of reaching the final of the recently concluded AFCON, but the Nigerian Football Federation saw enough to keep him in his job. The only option would have been if the coach decided to walk away, but he has committed his future to Nigeria despite receiving interesting proposals from the above mentioned countries. And his immediate goal is winning the 2027 AFCON after finishing third in this edition, and he has already communicated his willingness to remain in his job to the NFF. In March, the team will be back in action for the qualifiers for the 2027 AFCON tournament. Okay, Chelle, Gabon, Angola. Yeah, in comparison to the quality with the Super Eagles, definitely it's understandable why he will reject Gabon, Angola, despite the money looking bigger. But maybe if South Africa comes, who knows? He might change his mind on Morocco.
Yeah, and for Tunisia, they've already gotten a coach too. There was a Tunisia in the mix one time. So for me, I think you look at it, that was the difference. Angola and Gabon are not going to the World Cup. So even though they are offering much, I also feel like this time around, he just led the fact that he has created this sort of a bond, with the current players, and they look like they want to play for him. So, if you ask me, if Nigeria are a team that can play at the World Cup, yes, under this coach, this is not the time for us to be saying, okay, we don't know what we want to do with him and we should let him go. It shows that the players, all their heads are in one place now. They want to play for him. So if they are so comfortable with him, why not keep him? Because we know how the NFF can be. This man might play some games in the AFCON qualifiers now, lose some games, and he gets fired. That's just my fear for Eric Chelle at this point. But should he stay? Yes, he should, because he has done a good job. He wasn't even expected to win the AFCON. He was just there to lead the boys. He was supposed to be fired after the AFCON. So now I think he blew the minds of those in the NFF. And right now, what the NFF should do now is please just sort out his payments. That's all you need to do. Because the man, it seems like he's just enjoying what he's doing with the players. He's just enjoying bonding with the players. There will come a time where this man will raise questions if they continue to hold back his wages. He will raise questions, and that won't be a good thing on the face of the NFF. So for me, I think please just sort out his wages. We want Eric Chelle to continue, to be honest.
Yeah, we want Eric Chelle to continue in all honesty. Okay, and let's talk about the Super Eagles topping in the major stats as far as the AFCON rankings is concerned. Ademola Lookman, most assists. He was the playmaker of the tournament. Taking a look at the stats, and the goals were coming in left, right, and center until they dried up against Morocco. And he came back again against Egypt. Was
dried
not
up
enough.
again.
Dried up again. I don't know, but overall, the Super Eagles top some of the major stats at the AFCON, which is a good way to look at the performance overall of the Super Eagles.
Absolutely. I mean, good one. Victor Osimhen, one of the top scorers. He got 4 goals. Like you said, Ademola Lookman, deservedly in the team of the tournament. With his assist and his gameplay. Even though there's this big topic of Victor Osimhen, the issue he had with Osimhen, derailing his confidence. He couldn't go on. He couldn't keep up. So for me, I think good one for Ademola Lookman. The Calvin Bassey as well, superb tackles as well, and also Stanley Wabali also making some crucial saves, even though it looked like we couldn't see it, but he made some crucial saves actually, Stanley Wabali, and of course Alex Iwobi with his passes and his all-around play. So for me, I think all around for the Super Eagles, yes, it's good at the top of the charts in terms of statistics, goals, assists. We all saw them, and of course, deservedly so, we have 3 players in the team of the tournament. So good one for Super Eagles of Nigeria, even though before the tournament, we were like, we don't know the kind of Super Eagles that will turn up. So for me, it's good for them to turn up this way, and they've done the nation really proud. In fact, when they lost that semi-final to Morocco, a lot of Nigerians were not even calling them out. They were just picking on some players, but they didn't call them out as a collective. because they know that the players even play.
Penalty.
I'm not part of that, but you're not going to put me in that. Chukwu is a good one for him. He's back with Fulham. You can now focus on your club football. And I hope that when next year I play for Super Eagles of Nigeria, you do better than that. You have to be serious.
Serious with your life.
You have to be serious to get into this Eric Chelle team. You have to be very, very serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going forward, I don't think Eric Chelle is going to want to take any nonsense.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, and of course, quite a good performance, a good tournament overall for the Super Eagles. And let's take a look at the big one this weekend. Definitely, everybody is talking about it. Manchester United up against the Arsenal. Arsenal, the Emirates Stadium.
Yeah.
And one man, definitely a Premier League legend. He played for two of the big clubs in England, if not three. Michael Owen, he played for Liverpool. And that was his best at the time when he won the European Player of the Year at a very young age, before moving to Real, and came back again for Manchester United, and eventually retired with Newcastle United. The former Real Madrid striker Michael Owen has predicted Manchester United will sit back and hit Arsenal on the break with pace when both teams clash in the Premier League this weekend. And Arsenal will host the Red Devils at the Emirates Stadium. And speaking of the encounter, Owen feels Man United will approach their game against the Gunners as they did against Manchester City in their previous Premier League tie. Do you think the cautious approach will work this time against Arsenal?
Well, I get what Owen is saying, but I don't think the way Manchester United are playing now, I mean, if there's anything to go back from that game in the Manchester derby against Manchester City, I don't think Manchester United will sit back and hit on the break. I think Manchester United will come all out because they seem to be brimming with confidence now. I was talking about
the best team in the league.
But they beat the team that is second in the table.
That is fumbling and wobbling.
They scored 5 goals. They scored 5 goals. 3 of those goals were disallowed. Manchester United are informed.
That Man City side is beating them is not a fluke anymore.
No. Manchester City, they are a threat any day, anytime with the likes of Semenyo, the likes of Sheki, Erling Haaland, and Manchester United still contains them. For me, I think this game, I would just say, form goes out of the window. These are 2 big teams, right? Even
two big teams?
Yes, they are 2. Come on, Manchester United is the biggest team in England.
No, not anymore.
They are. They are the biggest team in England. They are the biggest team in England, to be honest, to a point. I know they're arguably, let me put arguably.
They have more trophies than Liverpool, for instance. Liverpool have more trophies in England. So Man United is not the biggest club. Even Man City is above them.
In English football, Manchester United has more trophies than Liverpool.
English football?
Yes.
What do you rank it?
The FA Cup. The FA Cup, the Carling Cup, the Community Shield, we count that, and then the Premier League. They have 2. They have 2020.
More FA Cup than Man United.
No, Liverpool can have more FA Cups. Manchester United, at some point, they were tied with Arsenal in FA Cup trophies. So I think after Arsenal is Manchester United. Liverpool is not.
Overall trophies.
Okay, fine. You can put that because in European trophies, of course, Liverpool has more European trophies than Manchester United. But in English football, to be honest, nothing is bigger than Man United.
It's not a big club.
But they are a big club. These are 2 big teams. Okay, look at Arsenal and Liverpool when they met at the Emirates Stadium.
Well, let's stick with Arsenal.
No, let's look at Arsenal and Liverpool. I just want to point out something. Liverpool, they were not in the best of form, but they went there to get a draw. So Manchester United also, yes, with the new manager bounce, they are looking to try to impress Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick will also want to impress the board. So for me, I think they are going in with confidence as well. Anything can come out of this one. Even though you are expecting Arsenal to win, but it is not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy because Manchester United now will be looking to throw a spanner in the wheel. And they also want to get back maybe into top 5 or top 6. And right now, like I said, they are brimming with confidence. But I think Arsenal will just have enough to be prepared for them because right now, a lot of things are falling into place for the Gunners because most of their players are now healthy. This is like the right time. The likes of Kai Havertz is back, Victor Gyökeres, brimming with confidence from the goal he scored against Inter Milan. Gabriel Jesus is also back. He got 2 against the Inter Milan as well. So for me, I think the squad is getting balanced. But Manchester United, trust me, they might not be in the best of form right now, but they are going to want to throw a spanner in the wheel. They are going to make it difficult for Arsenal at the Emirates. It's going to be a tough one.
All right, and of course, Manchester United are going to Arsenal. And it's going to be a pretty similar, like the Man City game, according to him. They are going to be out of possession for a lot of the time, and they are going to be sitting deep. They are going to have pace on the attack. Brian Mbeumo is back. Diallo is back. Very pacey players who can hit on the counter, and Arsenal should be ready. But if they sit back and get corners and free kicks, of course, the dark arts. Arsenal are the king of the dark arts. They might.
How is corner kick be? How is it dark arts, Jerry?
No, that's the terminology. I don't need to explain how
dark arts is creating unnecessary fouls now.
Dark arts meaning that you're
doing the boss is dark.
No, everything dark arts meaning that you're doing something out of the extraordinary to win games. Normally. Other teams find it difficult to score via corners and so on and so forth because the other teams are good at defending against them. Let's not forget, in time past, even when Arsene Wenger was living in the early times of Arsenal, Arsenal had problems dealing with dead balls, free kicks, and corners. They found a way around it, and now they're even using it as an option to beat low block sides. Unfortunately, Arne Slot has found a way to complain instead of looking for solutions on how to beat teams who play low block football. So it will be the undoing of Michael Carrick if he decides to sit back and soak all the pressure while Arsenal is coming at them with all the dark arts in the book.
I want to look at that game in the Manchester derby. There was one thing that Manchester United did, and they did really right. They were not looking to play like Manchester City. All they had to do was the basics. The pass, the simple passes, putting the players in their right position. Bruno Fernandes was playing in the 10, a position he has missed for a long time under the previous coach, Ruben Amorim, was playing more like a deep-lying playmaker. It wasn't good for him. He balanced it out with a certain Casemiro and Kobe Mainoo, playing behind Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes had the freedom, to operate. Also, we saw a certain Amad Diallo and, Brian Mbeumo operating from the wings. So I think he's going to also want to do the same thing against Arsenal. I don't think Manchester United, even with the form they are in, I don't think they want to show any fear to play Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. Like I said, they are brimming with confidence. Coming to the Emirates to come and sit back is going to dull their confidence for a bit. So I think they want to come and play and show that yes, they can try and get a point or even maximum 3 points off the Gunners, and that will seriously play a big role in the title race.
You see that happening because Arsenal is playing at the Emirates Stadium and they're bringing in confidence.
Yeah.
The fact that they have 100% record in the UEFA Champions League, going away to beat Inter Milan over the weekend with the Gabriel Jesus starting, and going to the Emirates Stadium in the Premier League where they definitely know that is their first refusal in terms of title push this season.
Yeah.
And knowing the fact that Carrick has brought a breath of fresh air in that team,
yeah,
they will want to dim that light and give them a dose of what it means when it comes to playing the Premier League, and the title charge is really, really hot.
Of course, and with the fact that they've already sealed their place, in the Champions League round of 16. So for me, I think what is really helping us now is the squad depth. I mean, look at the game against Inter Milan. The certain Victor Gyökeres did not get to start at some point. Declan Rice came on. So there are players to choose from. That's talking about Mikel Arteta and his team right now. And also, on a lighter note, a former Manchester United defender is also in Arsenal's coaching ranks. That's talking about Gabriel Heinze is there. So if there's something, a little thing about the Manchester United DNA, he knows about it because he has also shared the pitch with Michael Carrick. So for me, I think Arsenal, yes, they will go into this game with fresh heads after already delivering on the Champions League. Moving on to the round of 16, I think the players will be all fresh and willing to go. And just like you said, at the Emirates Stadium, of course, they haven't lost there this season at all. So because they've only lost twice, to Liverpool and to Aston Villa. So for me, I think it's a good one. They'll be looking to play Manchester United. But the thing, like I said, about two big teams and form going out of the window, coming into this season, Manchester United were very poor. We know how they ended last season. But they started this game, the first game of the season, at Old Trafford, and they played us. In fact, let me say they outplayed Arsenal. They were willing to. They were supposed to get that win. For me, I think they were deserved winners on that day. But then Arsenal got the win 1-0. So I think they want to look back at that and say, look, even though it was Ruben Amorim, we can still take some of what he used, some of his tactics that he used in that game, and also try to infuse it into this one on Sunday as well. It's going to be a tough one, but maybe Arsenal might just come through on the day.
Maybe Arsenal might just come through on the day, and of course it's going to be a big one. And looking at the other fixtures that will be played this weekend in the Premier League, West Ham United up against Sunderland is a good game to start the weekend, and that's on Saturday's fixtures. And there's also Burnley up against the Spurs. Fulham takes on Brighton, as well as Manchester City playing Wolves. They play host to Wolves at the Etihad Stadium. There's Bournemouth up against Liverpool. Bournemouth have always proven to be the banana peel. Now, without Semenyo, maybe it will be easier for Liverpool away at the Vitality Stadium. And of course, on Sunday, there's Brentford up against Nottingham Forest. Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. There's Newcastle United up against Aston Villa. And Arsenal versus Manchester United. And that's the big fixture on Super Sunday. And on Monday, there's Everton up against Leeds United. Taking a look at the fixtures, apart from the Manchester United-Arsenal United rivalry or derby, if you want to put it that way, is the pick of the bunch for you?
I think Newcastle against Aston Villa is another one to watch out for, because Aston Villa themselves, they will look at it and say they are not far away. They are just 7 points behind the Gunners as well. Manchester City against Wolves look like a fixture they will pick easily, because Wolves at the bottom of the table are not doing really well for themselves at this point. And going to the Etihad Stadium is always going to be a difficult task. So for me, I think Newcastle against Aston Villa, just before the Arsenal against Manchester United game, I mean, if Newcastle can do the business, Arsenal fans will be happy, and they will say they want to, go ahead and say, okay, they've knocked, Aston Villa out. That would be, should they get the win against Manchester United, it will be 10 points if Aston Villa loses at St. James's Park. So for me, I think that game is also a one to, watch out for. Yeah, Bournemouth against Liverpool, the return of Milos Kekes to the Vitality Stadium. He was signed from there in the summer. So I think that one too is also something to look forward to. But for the title race, I think Newcastle against Aston Villa, aside the Arsenal against the Manchester United game, is one to watch.
All right, let's look at Chelsea. Chelsea looks like it was not a good day at the office in the Champions League. Chelsea won a victory courtesy of an Esteville, who definitely we didn't expect that he would be scoring with a header.
No, that was Moses Caicedo.
Moses Caicedo, I beg your pardon, being a pick of the bunch, had to score the goal to make a difference against Parfos.
Actually, Parfos came with one game plan I don't understand.
You see?
They look like they were the ones that wanted to qualify for the round of 16. They came with a big... they looked like they were the ones at home. I think it was David Luiz that told them to play like that. He used to play at Stamford Bridge because that was almost a defensive masterclass until they were undone by that, Caicedo header. The Chelsea forwards were so frustrated in that game. So that is what it is when you play against teams that just depend on the low block. Once they give you that low block, there's nothing you can do about it.
Now they're playing on another side. Who knows how to do it very well? Crystal Palace.
Absolutely. But the thing is, Crystal Palace right now, they look like their season is about to be in shambles because you saw what happened with the McGay situation. They let their best defender go. Their striker as well might be on the move. That's talking about Mateta. I think has already told the board that he wants to leave. Juventus are looking, Aston Villa are also looking as well. And then the coach has said some things. At some point he said the team is abandoned, the team is not being supported, and now that he wants to leave at the end of the season. That's talking about Oliver Glasner. So for me, it's not, and they also lost Eze in the summer as well. So for me, I think it's not looking really good right now for Crystal Palace. Going into Selhurst Park, maybe Oliver Glasner might find a way to cool the heads of his players and say, look, let us take it game by game until the end of the season. Even with Gay gone, we can still do something with our backline, our midfield, and our forwards. So we can do something with the team. Maybe they might want to prove to be a tough nut to crack for Chelsea, but it's right now they are not looking really good at all. And Chelsea, they might want to come back on the confidence of that game, that winning against Parfos, to go to Selhurst Park and try to pick a point or three.
All right, they'll try to pick a point or three. And of course, there's also the game between Fulham and Brighton. Hopefully, we'll be seeing Calvin Bassey, Wobi, and Chukwueze back in action, bringing the AFCON form. I feel for Brighton, it's going to be a big game in London.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game. And of course, for Brighton, under Fabian Ozela, the way they started, at the beginning of the season, they started really well. But right now, how Premiership can be, how the Premier League can be. If you are not careful, the teams you might just get to lose like 4 or 5 games. But then they also have an AFCON star of their own. That's talking about Carlos Baliba, who actually did well, with Cameroon at the AFCON. And they also have their good players coming back, likes of Maxime de Kuyper, likes of Fedi Kadiolu, and also Welbeck, who is on one scoring form that I don't understand. And at 34, 35, is really doing well. That's talking about the former Manchester United and Arsenal striker. So Fulham Brighton is going to be a good one, yes, but I want to see our Calvin Bassey, who, yes, deservedly in the team of the tournament. It will be who a lot of people were clamoring for to be in the team of the tournament as well, because he had a fantastic AFCON, and maybe Chukwueze will be looking to bounce back. So good one for Marco Silva to have his three players back. I mean, I'm sure he must have missed them a lot. And Fulham Brighton will be an exciting one to watch as well.
Yeah, Fulham Brighton is going to be a big game to look forward to, and then definitely Brentford up against Nottingham Forest. The Brentford with Kankela has been on form, doing big things for the club, taking his form from Liverpool back to Brentford, and of course Tottenham. It looks like they're busy in the transfer window. Thomas Frank has plans.
Yeah, of course. They just signed up Souza, from Santos. That's talking about the left back, I think, and they're also looking to wrap up a deal for Andy Robertson. They're trying to get a deal for Andy Robertson. I don't know why they are packing full backs, because I think Destiny Udogie and Ben Davies, I think they are injured now. So getting Souza and a certain Robertson, I think it will be good for them as well. And don't forget, they also signed Conor Gallagher. And they're also coming into this game with confidence as well, because they defeated Borussia Dortmund, in the Champions League.
Which is huge.
Yeah, which is huge for them. It's very, very huge. And, Thomas Frank just gave him, at least he can have a sigh of relief that, look, I still want to hold on to my job. But I think if results don't go their way, maybe in the next 4 or 5 games, I think the Tottenham board will be considering to fire the man.
Yeah, they've even fired somebody who went to the final.
And for them to fire somebody that even won them a title.
Mourinho, yeah. They even fired the title-winning coach. So who can
there's nothing Tottenham can do.
What Tottenham cannot do in coach firing.
It does not exist.
Anyway, let's go back to the Spanish La Liga.
Yeah.
Real Madrid roared back to life this week, led by superb Vinicius Jr., who is looking to confirm his own resuscitation and that of his team at Villarreal on Saturday in La Liga. Second place Real can move top of the table with a victory over leaders Barcelona, who host Real Oviedo on Sunday, and cross the threat of another title contender at the same time as they head to Spain's eastern coast. Marcelino Garcia's Torals of Villarreal at third, 7 points behind Madrid, and 8 off Champions League back Barcelona, and a defeat would virtually write off any chance of a first ever title. So this is a big fixture. Villarreal will fancy their chances against the Real Madrid side that's been having a topsy-turvy season. Though with that win against Monaco, I think you have a rethink that Vinicius has rediscovered himself again at a time Villarreal didn't want him to be in this kind of form.
And it's not even helping Villarreal at all, because they also lost to one of, let me say, the poorest sides in the Champions League, Ajax Amsterdam. They lost 2-1, after scoring first in the Champions League, and now they are playing again at home. They lost that game at home. Now they are playing again at the Ceramica against Real Madrid, who got back on track 6-1. They want to get a back-to-back win in the La Liga, after defeating Levante last time out at the Bernabeu. This time, that 6-1 score against Monaco, it is all the confidence you need. I mean, the likes of Kylian Mbappe turning up, Vinicius Jr. with, let's count the assists for the own goal, 3 assists and a goal. 4 goal contributions in one game. I think that's good enough for him. He went straight to the manager after scoring his goal. Look, I want to be here. And I think Arbeloa must have said something to him. And now they will be taking out Jude Bellingham also getting on the score sheet. It's good to see the big boys of Real Madrid, getting on the score sheet and trying to steer that team to victory. 6-1 on the night against Monaco. Monaco, with a certain Paul Pogba, now they're supposed to at least be a threat a little bit. They were dismantled by Real Madrid. And I think Villarreal also, they won't be going into that game with all the confidence, even though they'll be looking to bounce back. Like I said, there are 7 points, adrift of Real Madrid and 8 of Barcelona, which might eventually turn to 10 and 11 at the end of this weekend. So for me, I think they will want to do well. I don't know why they actually sold, or I think loaned out one of their best players, Ilyas Akomach of Morocco. They loaned him to Rayo Vallecano, but they still have the likes of Tajon Buchanan, they have the likes of Nicolas Pepe, Tani Oluwaseyi, the Canadian striker, who I think Nigeria should look to call in the near future, but I think he's going to play for Canada. That's talking about the man who used to play in the MLS. So they still have good players. That's talking about Villarreal, the likes of George Mikautadze, their striker as well. But Real Madrid at this point are the ones brimming with confidence. So I think Real Madrid might go to Ceramica and pick 1 or even 3 points.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, it's going to be a big game for Villarreal. They are at home against Real Madrid, and Vinicius is on fire at the moment. And of course, Arbeloa has been talking tough for his own good. He gets to win this one. But for Villarreal, they will fancy their chances because they are at home. They are also contending for the title, whether they like it or not. Because the point difference between them and Barcelona and Real Madrid looks pretty interesting. And of course, there's also other games to look forward to in the La Liga. There's Levante playing host to Elche, and there's Vallecano taking on Osasuna. There's Valencia up against Espanyol. Sevilla, Akko Adams hopes he gets 2 more goals this time around against Athletic Club.
That will be tough.
Yeah, very tough, but definitely at home, you should fancy their chances. Let's go Madrid. I don't know what's happening. They get to take on Real Mallorca. There's Barcelona up against the Oviedo. This should be a walkover at the Camp Nou, but you never know the Barcelona.
Barcelona in form. They are. I know they lost last time out, at the Real Arena against Sociedad, but they bounced back, in the Champions League. They were a bit, I won't say scared. They were not, but they were, giving that alert. They were on high alert against Slavia Prague, but they bounced back. Fermin Lopez is in the form of his life. 20 goals and assists in 24 games. For a young boy, now I see why Chelsea actually went to the transfer market to try and buy him for 90 million euros. So for me, good one for Fermin Lopez. And the big boys, the likes of Lamine Yamal, Marcus Rashford also stepping in for Barcelona. Right now, at the Camp Nou against the Estadio Oviedo side, who another year, Santi Cazorla, I don't think it has been the best homecoming, so far. But then they will want to prove a test for Barcelona, but I think Barcelona will streamroll Real Oviedo. If all things being equal, I think Barcelona should pick up this one. A win for Barcelona this weekend. I think other teams they want to play catch up. And as for Atletico Madrid, they also want to bounce back to get a win because they drew 1-1 with our own Victor Osimhen's Galatasaray in the Champions League. But they want to bounce back in that game. But well, let's see how this weekend is going to go in La Liga. I think it's going to be a fantastic weekend all around with goals.
Yeah, fantastic weekend all around. Of course, Sociedad will play host to Celta Vigo. This Alaves up against Real Betis, and Girona will be hosting Getafe, the game of the G's. Okay, Girona used to be one of the teams.
They were in Champions League at
a point in time, but it looks like everything fizzled out. I don't know whether City pulled the funds. Anyway,
no, they are still signing players, but it's not as good as those that they had. I think it was just like they just punched above their weight. They overachieved and they went to the Champions League. But right now, I think it's back to default settings. But they still have good players now. The likes of Brian Hill, Azzedine Unai, Donny van de Beek. Don't remember he used to play for Manchester United. Don't forget that he used to play for Manchester United.
City is not even doing well. He's been struggling.
What?
Who joined City? Was it 2 seasons ago?
Who's that?
Girona man. I'm trying to remember his name right now. If I remember him, I'll get to it.
They got City put Savinho from there.
Yeah, that's
Savinho used to play. Yeah, Savinho.
Savinho.
Of course, Savinho was from Girona.
Struggling like Girona at City.
And they also have decided the Christian Stuani. I don't know why that man has not retired yet, but good. His body is still picking up to play. So I think Girona this time, like I said, they are back to default setting. When you overachieve at some point, if I don't get to do it, if I don't get to repeat, the trick. And they're a selling club.
Yeah,
they're a selling club. They will definitely let their good players.
The City's back pocket.
Exactly.
Anyway, talking about Manchester City, the manager of the side, Pep Guardiola, is talking. He said that City are tasked with chasing down the best team in the world in Premier League leaders Arsenal, as he launched a defiant defense of his players after a chasing week. City were well beaten by local rivals Manchester United last weekend before suffering one of the biggest upsets in Champions League history away to Norway's Bodø/Glimt on Tuesday. Do you agree with Guardiola? He says that they're going after the best team in the world right now. Arsenal definitely topping the Champions League table, topping the Premier League table. That's the best team in the world, arguably. Overall
best in mind games. There's something about Pep. He has a way of pushing the attention from him. That's one thing I like about Pep Guardiola and his press conferences. Calling Arsenal the world best now, sort of put that pressure on them that, okay, if you are the world best, you need to prove to be the world best. Now we are the chasers. At some point, they were at the top of the table. Now they are chasing. I like that from Pep Guardiola.
They don't won a game this year already. In 2026, they haven't won a game in the Premier League.
They haven't won. They haven't won a game, and it's so surprising.
In 2026, this January is already out.
And there's one thing about Manchester City, if you notice, Jerry, they might lose a game and suddenly there's a crack. They lost to Manchester United, and it just looked like they didn't know what they were doing again, and they went to Bodø/Glimt. Even though going to that place is very rigorous. I mean, it's a very far distance. It's very, very cold. But then Erling Haaland should get used to it, or even Oscar Bob. They are Norwegians. But then it wasn't good homecoming for Erling Haaland. Bodø/Glimt really took them to the cleaners. And of course, I think yes, the side is playing catch up, but 7 points I don't think is anything to Pep Guardiola. He has won the league, being 7 points behind before. So why can't he do it again?
On this kind of form, 7 points behind.
There will come a time in this Premier League season where maybe from February to March, they might go on a 15-game unbeaten run. It's not the first time. Manchester City are very good at it. All this that Pep is saying is for his team to regain form. And don't forget, they might start this weekend against Wolves, and they might just go on a 20-game unbeaten run. That's Manchester City for you.
Yeah. Wolves is not the team to show that you're back, because they are not a team doing well this season. Talking about Wolves, but
all you need is a win. It's not for you to win again. Once you win, trust me. Should they win and Arsenal drops points against Manchester United, trust me, all talks will be back on Manchester City.
All right, let's talk about the Liverpool boss. And Slot said he was not expecting any new arrivals before this transfer window closes, despite his squad appearing stretched in defense ahead of Saturday's Premier League trip to Bournemouth. And Slot acknowledged the realities of the January market, but suggested Liverpool will stick with the existing group even after seeing summer centre-back targets Maguire and reported forward target Antoine Semenyo move to Manchester City. Is it wise for the January transfer window to end and Liverpool doesn't buy any players for reinforcement.
It's very simple, Jerry. They just need to buy. And I'm sure Arne Slot knows that they have to buy. But, I mean, looking at that defense line right now, if you are going to let a certain Andy Robertson go to Tottenham, there needs to be a replacement. Who do you have on the left-hand side? I think they also mentioned that they are not calling back Costa Tsimikas, who is on loan at Roma. So who is Liverpool looking, to sign? For me, I think all this Arne Slot is saying, maybe it's just to slow down, to ease down the pressure. The whole world knows that Liverpool needs players. I think he's trying to ease the pressure and try to, liaise with the board and see where they can get, the best players, in this January transfer window. Players have to come in, Jerry. You can't play catch up to Arsenal even in this form. You need to get players. It's just so glaring. I mean, at the back line, it's been Konate and Van Dijk, and trust me, they're not even at their best this season so far. So for me, even at the right-hand side, yes, we have a certain Jeremy Frimpong, but Conor Bradley is injured. So there's no depth at that back line. I think, Alisson and Mamala is really okay. That one is fine. But for the centre-backs, Joe Gomez is a player that can't complete a season. I think he's even currently injured at this point. So for me, I think it's just so glaring that Liverpool, they need changes, and it has to come in this January. Waiting for Maguire was a really, really bad idea. Really, really bad idea. And now he's got a 20 million signing to a certain Manchester City. Well, how about Wataru Endo? We haven't seen much of Wataru Endo, who, for me, I think can also be an extra body at the defense line. Liverpool, for me, they just need to do something in this January transfer window.
It looks like Arnold has been told by Bellon he has to leave.
Maybe he can come back to Liverpool.
To replace who?
To replace Jeremy Frimpong any day, anytime. Okay. You won't pick Frimpong ahead of Trent Alexander-Arnold.
For now, Frimpong ahead of Arnold.
Why? Because of game time. What is Frimpong?
He's on form right at the moment.
You don't want us to go there.
Alexander-Arnold looks like he's better off at the hospital. On the hospital bed. So
injured Alexander-Arnold is better than a fit Frimpong.
And injured, that means he's not going to be available.
Frimpong is not even playing his basic role. He's not playing his primary role. They are putting him up front.
And he's doing well.
What's he doing?
He's doing well.
Salah is back. Let's see him play in his basic role.
I think I'm good. I don't want a player who will be in the treatment room while we're looking for somebody who will be on the pitch. We need somebody.
Is it his fault that is in the treatment room?
He should stay there as far as it's Real Madrid.
I know where this is coming from, but we will discuss that.
All right, that's much we can take on the show. And of course, we talked about Andy Robertson on this way. Yeah. Tottenham is having talks with Liverpool. Yeah. I don't know Liverpool will be interested in letting him go. Now they're having defensive issues. Yeah. To not be wise to let Robertson go this January, since you're not making any signings.
Of course, it won't be wise at all, because even a certain Milos Kerkez might pull up with an injury anytime. Yeah, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen to him, but then it's football. So for me, I think Robertson should still stay. For me, I still think Robertson should be the number one. I know they are trying to, try to bring in, the future and trying to play certain Milos Kerkez for the future, but I think Robertson should still be the man. Robertson is still very good. For me, it's still better than Kerkez.
No, you don't want Kerkez. Come on, these guys are younger. They should grow. At a point in time, Robertson was not this good before he got old. Anyway. He was given game time to prove himself.
He was very good when he came to Liverpool.
Yeah,
he was very, very good.
He was an average player when he came to Liverpool.
Of course.
From Hull City, and he became a world-class player at a point.
He was not even playing in the Premier League before he came to Liverpool.
Anyway, that's much we can take on the show. Big thanks to Hafiz, the Algerian, for being a part of the show. Big thanks.
There are black men in Algeria.
Yeah, sure. You look the part.
I told you my name. Hafiz bin Omar Assad.
Congratulations on your twisting on your new name. All right, we thanks to the guys behind the scene, talking about the likes of Manfred, not leaving out the likes of Cherry, as well as Hassan, as well as all the guys, Adura, for being awesome on the show. My name is Jerry Apelo saying thanks for being a part of the show. Up next is Political Lens with Chukuma Okoro. Stay tuned.
ezigbo nwa afọ Nigeria ka ihe m ga-eme pụrụ iche
nwanne m nwoke
Adanne
m ga-akwụ chim n'eziokwu kwanyere ndị ọzọ ugwu ma lekọta obodo anyị anya
gbam
ụmụnne m na ụmụnna m obodo anyị bụ Naịjirịa ga-aga n'iru ma ọ bụrụ na anyị jikọta aka kwado ndị na-achị anyị ka ha mee nke ha anyị ga-emekwa nke anyị
n'ezie ọganihu ga-adị ma ọ bụrụ na anyị na ndị na-achị anyị jikọta aka rụọ ọrụ
asaa bụ
ihe ndị na-achị anyị kwekọtara ha ga-eme ka obodo wee dị mma.
Igbo kwenu! Igbo kwenu!